So, people often say that Disney promotes anti-feminist values. What would you say to that?
There's clearly a lot of definitions of what feminism is. I'd like to think it's just people being empowered to make the choices they want with their lives, individual of their gender. And I don't think Disney in any way promotes a message that tries to limit those choices. You know, they're achieving what they want. The biggest criticism, of course, comes that all the characters' stories are relationship based. And although relationships are a big part of the story, they're a big part of any movie's story.
And I think the reason we're so nervous about the Disney message when we have these intellectual conversations is because the idea of prioritizing relationships is frightening to us. It runs against the mainstream of American culture, which is that we should prioritize careers and identity and individuality. And the idea that other people might create us as much as we create ourselves is something, a message we crave even as we try to escape it. I noticed that the earlier movies that were made during the time of Brady Bunch have these very stereotypical feminine roles. But the more recent movies, the heroines are spunkier and they do things like hit the heroes in the head with frying pans. Well, bam. So,
well, Tiana, one of those spunky princesses, is also, although she's very do-it-yourself, work-hard gal, get it done, and she kind of spearheads the adventure between her and the prince to try to not be frogs anymore.
This is the Princess and the Frog movie we're talking about, in case you forgot Tiana's name.
Even though she's, you clearly define her as an independent woman. We've got her cooking and cleaning and being very proud and very good at those things. She learned to cook from her father. She wants to open her own restaurant.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that her passion for cooking flows from her father, not her mother.
And certainly we have criticisms of like Snow White cooking and cleaning and Cinderella cooking and cleaning, but Tiana also cooks and cleans. It's not a bad thing. And so she teaches her prince to cook, and he's very excited about this.
You've made a very compelling argument to me at one point that even Cinderella has a feminist message hidden within it. Can you make that case to our audience?
Well, just as I was saying, it doesn't have to, a lot of things people segregate to gender doesn't have to be gender related. The prince is looking for love just as much as Cinderella, if not more than Cinderella. Cinderella just wanted to go to the ball and have a night out because someone said, hey, you can't. And of course, she wants to just have a nice time.
And no one tells Cinderella, you cannot do this.
And the prince, he is the one who sees Cinderella and says, hey, wow, I really want to be with this girl no matter what, and is going to chase down the whole kingdom to find her. I think that his story is the relationship, and her story is transcending her class boundaries via magic, but, there wasn't much else going on at that time, I guess. It's easy to lose sight in a movie like The Little Mermaid that the movie is all about the relationship, because she's giving up all these things for the prince who
But is she really giving it up for the prince? Before she's even met the frickin' prince, she's dissatisfied with her life under the sea.
Exactly.
She's swimming around and she's saying, I want to be where the people are. She's in this, really limited social circle of people she's known her entire life. She just wants to have adventure in a wider world. And when she's swimming around her cavern of objects she's meticulously, scientifically collected from shipwrecks, you can tell that longing to reach that wider world and be part of a larger story, which I think is, it's not about love and relationships at all. It's about adventure and exploration.
That's what I was going to say. That it's her desire to be able to do, just like Cinderella, it's her desire to do things that she's not allowed to do. She's transcending boundaries imposed upon her. Her only interest was discovering and curiosity, and this prince happens to be super cute. So,
are you happy with the way men are depicted in Disney?
not exactly. I mean, we've got Prince Charming as the generic name for two of the princes in the early movies, Snow White and Cinderella. You never get to know the princes' names.
Yeah, think how offensive it would be if a woman was just referred to by this generic nickname and her personality never really developed and she was treated like an object. But that's how all the princes are treated, more or less, in the Disney films, except for the more recent one.
Someone joked with me before with Sleeping Beauty, Prince Philip at least has a name. And he gets a song. Like, before that, you had nothing. So that was great for him. But still, Prince Philip is just another prince. You don't really get to know him other than that he happens to fight a dragon. Honestly, the character with the most personality in that movie is the villain, Maleficent.
Girl dragon, right?
Yes. Well, breathing green fire is pretty cool.
It is indeed. Now, why do you think that Disney is so easy to hate on if you're sort of an educated middle-class liberal? Easy to hate on and easy to love on. It's like when you're having intellectual conversations, you're like, oh, I disdain Disney. But then when you're pursuing your private amusement, you're like, yay, Disney, break out the popcorn. So why do you think there's that gap in the way people treat it in their daily lives?
Well, some people get overdosed with political correctness. But the one thing people can't argue with is that they're cute. It's okay to be about two people creating this relationship with each other and having their identity be partly about that they have a relationship with each other. In real life, things don't always work out the first time. Things might not work out ever, but it's nice to have a movie where things work out. Why not have a happy ending every now and then?